Right, hello, I'm Chris. This is Gross Models, and this is the Astra Militarum Baneblade. This is a kit that was kindly gifted to me for Christmas, but it's not Christmas yet. But shh, don't tell anyone. I'm going to start on it now. This was gifted to me by two of my very good friends, Paul and George. So yeah, I've already done the first sort of unboxing video of showing you what's what and getting a vague idea as to how I'm going to tackle this beast, because it's huge. It's a tank, but it's one tank, but it's massive. So as far as I can tell, the best way of tackling this monster is one bit at a time, which is always the best way of tackling any kit, really. But right, let me have a quick refresh through. Basically, it's a tank, but it's also 7 other tanks. There are variants that you can create provided in the kit, and obviously from there you put different guns on, different turrets on and things like that. I'm not necessarily going to use any of the particular variants in here. I'm going to sort of see if I can mix and match and make it just awesome. You know, as many guns and things as I can fit onto it, basically. But they're all based around the same framework. The 2 treads are the same on all of them. And indeed, when you're making it, it says follow steps 1 to 2 for all variants. 1 and 2 are basically make one side, make the other side, and then when you finish part 2, you get to part 3 to 14, depending on what bits you're going to do. If you're doing the Baneblade and the Hellhammer, you have to do this section. If you're not, you have to do different. For the Storm Sword, you end up doing this bit different, although that's probably the same. Yeah, the underside seems to be the same, but then different bits fit in different ways. But to begin with, and for this first video, I think it's probably just going to be the 2 sides, the tracks, basically. So yeah, now the one thing I did notice when I was flicking through the sprues on this, they don't actually number. They number some of the parts on the inside of the tracks, but not the actual sides and things. So let's see if this is yeah, I've got the opposite one out. This isn't 1, this is 2. So let's skip to 2. There we go. It's the same, it's just mirrored, but it's obviously easier to do according to the instructions there. So it does say use R6, R8, R, yeah, which actually don't seem to be on this sprue. So there is going to be a little bit of dotting around, but yeah, although that's putting the other side on there. So I'll get some bits off the sprue and we'll see how it goes together. Right, I've had a little rummage through the sprues and I've decided to go for 1 anyway, just to keep things in order and keep it going properly. So I found one that looks like it's got bits that match up with the pictures. So hopefully that'll be what I need. I will start, as ever, just by going through the basics on model making if you've not done anything like this before. Normally you'd be able to find the numbers L5, look for it and find it and cut it off. But as I say, these are, some of these are numbered. There's L5 is on there. So some parts are numbered on this, but not all of them. The big one obviously just doesn't have a number, but you can just find it because it looks like that one in the picture. Now, to remove parts from the sprue, you need a pair of cutters. These are like side cutters. These are actually very good in that I can get right up next to the piece and cut it off and leave virtually no nub, no marks, no anything. So there's very little cleanup required using these. If you're using a pair of cutters that aren't as good, then you may need to cut, say, further away from the piece and then do a little bit more work. Sort of, so there's little bits of nubs left on there. A little bit of sanding, perhaps with a thicker sander to begin with, and then working your way down to a fine grade sander. And if it's a part that's going to be external or visible, then even finer sanding, polishing, and making it go away, basically. But as these are going to be covered by other pieces, other parts, you don't need to worry too much about it. Again, the same with the wheels, they're going to be having tracks over them, so as long as you keep them, let's say, rounded, not getting any flat sides on them. They will be painted, so you don't need to worry too much about the look, the slight discoloration you might get. As long as it's not terrible, you'll get away with it. So that's basically that part done to the standard that you need to worry about. You could spend hours getting it perfect, but you're going to be putting another thing next to it, so it doesn't matter too much. I'll get off the next few parts and then we'll see about assembling them. And that's all the parts ready for the first stage. Basically they go together like that. Now the trouble with these apparently is getting them flat and even. Now luckily my mat is very, very flat, so I can probably get away with just, oh no you can't, because it's not flat that way. Okay, so it's going to have to, yeah, what I'll do is I'll get that glued together using extra thin, so you don't, so you've got some time to play around with. Let's get that seam down there glued, and obviously as ever all around the big bits. Actually, I'm going to open those up and cover the big bits as well, so that will go in there together. So can I get them that way? Yeah, that way up I can get it just about right. Obviously that's got a nasty undercut in there, so you can't use that to get that right. There's no sort of flat edge to work around. So what you can do is use something smaller but flat that's going to cover in that area. Let's see, what I was intending to use this, I hadn't got anything else to plan. Let's see, I have my flat-sided multi-tool knife. That gives me quite a definite edge, so let's get that in there. Let's get some more extra thin around the edges there. Now that should do that. Let me put another light on so we can see exactly what we're doing. So I'm using that flat to make sure it stays where it should go. So that should be okay. Move that to one side while we get on with the rest of it. We have the front and back wheels to assemble. Now these have actually got part numbers on them, but they're actually on them. So you can see that one, L2 in there. Yeah, let's not knock that over because I need that to stay right. Right, try that again. Yes, these so you can glue in place, so we can get that in the right area there. Snap it down and just cover the edges again. I'll do that. Right, onto that we put L3, which is the one that says L3 on it. But into that we put this post. So it's got one flat side sort of keyed in. So we get that in the right place. A little bit of glue on there. Push that all the way home. Then we get some glue on the end there. And that goes onto there. So far so good. And on the end of that goes the other one, which again also has a key in place, so you get these notches the right way round there. So just hold that for a couple of seconds, give that a chance to set. The other one is exactly the same, but obviously easier because there's less bits to worry about. We have L8 goes into L6, which is that one on the long side, which again also sticks through the other side. So let's get that glued in there before pushing that through. I won't do the other side yet because that's got to go onto that. So I'll leave that until that's actually set and dry, and I can make sure that's square before we attach this to the back. So let's have a quick look. Yeah, it's not quite there. Let's just manipulate that a little bit. Being that it's extra thin, it gives us a little while to play around with it. Let's put a nice flat side there, although this is obviously the inside anyway, so we're not overly concerned. Just making sure it is actually level and where it should be. So when that's that, this one goes on the back, just on there, that way round. Again, getting that keyed in the right way. A little bit of give on there. It's unusual, but there we go. That's that one. And the other one actually just slips in. Where we're looking between those two there. That just goes on literally just like that. So I won't do that until I get this all properly dried. So let me leave that to dry and come back and do that momentarily. Okay, that's set and dried and straight and okay, looks good. Won't really know until we get the other side on, which is one of the next bits to do. But first of all, I'm going to attach this front lead-in wheel thing. So I'm just going to get a bit of extra thin in there. Get that lined up on there, and then get a touch more around the edges. All good. Okay, so next up we have some more wheels to assemble, to put in. They came like that. That's one piece off the sprue. So we have two pieces of that, one that's straight, one that's bent up at the end, which is that one. So that one goes there. That way around. But it goes on to the other bit, so not that. Right, let's have a look. That goes there, so they'll go onto that. So this bit, there we go. They go together, much the same as the other one did. So let's get some more glue across the big flat. Quite nice that it keys in there. Instead of being a straight line, it matches and goes in with the panels. So that's quite nice. That goes on there. Which side was which? That was the side that's glue. Right, so onto that. That way round, yeah, we've got the one that goes up, is up this end, on there. So let's get some glue into those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes. That goes in there. Nice, that'll do. And then the remaining 4 holes. Not 4 candles, 4 holes. Go along for the other one. Okay. Don't quite join up in the middle, but that's okay. I'm sure they're not meant to. That's all perfectly acceptable. And then that joins onto there. So let's see where. Oh, the big post bits. That's the only thing that hold that together. Okay, that's easy. Get some glue on those. 2, 3, and 4. That's the 4 of those done. So I can feel that sort of setting square. So I'll leave that like that to dry. It's not got level surfaces anywhere. Well, the wheels at the bottom are probably the flattest bit. So there we have a side looking good. Then I've got to put the tracks on, so I'll let that dry while I'm getting the tracks cut off and separated, tidied up, sanded down. Now obviously doing the tracks on this, we have numbered parts 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 go across there, and then we've got some other bits that go sort of across the top because you can see into a bit of it. So I'll get the tracks cut off. It's nice and easy because they are numbered on the inside of the tracks, so even I can't get them mixed up. So let me get the tracks assembled and we'll carry on. Right, tracks. Now obviously naturally you want to start with the lower number. You want to start with number 2 and work your way along, but I couldn't quite tell where it was saying 2 was going to go. So what I've actually done is start at the other end with 7, which it says that goes onto that bit, and then 6 goes next to that there, and then round and down, and 3 and 2. So I can figure out which one goes where a little bit more easily. So what I'm going to do is actually leave that one there, get rid of those, because you do sort of still need to start at this end. That's 3, which goes there. Yeah, and then 2 obviously goes in there. So what I'm going to do is get rid of that one as well. Going to start with 2. 3's in place at the moment, so I'm going to get some glue on 2 onto the outsides of those blobs, and that's going to go in there like that. Then I can do the same with 3. Actually, to make this easier, I'm going to glue where it's going to go. Then that can go in there like that and get the angle right and feeling good and looking like it belongs as a track. And then the next bit is number 4, which is going to feel there we go, not that, but going to touch that. So let's get the insides of that glued and some across the top where it's going to touch as well. And that goes in there like that. Now what I'm going to do now is go back and make sure I get where the tracks actually touch each other as well, and that will get some caterpillar action. We'll take that into the seam where it needs to be, and then continuing on, this is going to touch in there, and that one as well, and obviously across the tops of those also, and tops of that one as well. So that will go there like that, that in there, and this is obviously making sure that the angular shape of that is correct as well. It was a little bit close, so I had to spread it apart just a touch to get that in there, but that's okay, that's what this is all about. So this is just using that one and across the top of that. There you go, that one, see, is not quite right, so just squeezing the bottom a little bit separates that and gets that back to where it should be. Get that joined, and then the last one is just going to go into there. I say the last one, it's not the last one, we know it's not the last one, but you know, that goes on there. Cool. So there we have the bottom run of the tracks. Still a bit of time just to play around, get it lined up, joined in. Cool. And then I'll get the next bits. For the next bits, it does give you the close-up of that showing that's where I had it. That's okay then. Cool. So let's get the rest of the tracks. We need 1, 12, 11, 10, 9 and 8, which are going to cover, say, the bits from the top. So I'll get those off, get them on, and we'll go from there. So I've been continuing on putting these in. The last big bit sort of needs to go in and underneath, so it's a little bit tricky. I'll show you that again on the other side. So the first one is the little one, which is nice and easy. Glues in there. Goes underneath in there. Right, so now this is the bigger, slightly trickier one. So basically getting the glue where I think it's going to need to go. And it goes onto these little runners across here a little bit. So you need to sort of get that in and then slide it back down and around. Because obviously it doesn't go over a wheel up there. So, because this has all just been done with extra thin, it's still all a little bit movementable. You can move it a bit. So I can take this opportunity to come back and make sure nothing looks seriously out of place on any of the joins, any of the curves. They all look like proper curves, and yeah, I'm happy with that. So that's coming together like that. Nice. Right, so next up we have some more armour pieces to dig off and put onto there, and then that'll be about done. So I'll get those ready and then attach them. Now the next bit is obviously the armour panels and these big barrel-y things on the back, which they give you pictures of in a couple of different things, but they're not numbered in any way. So I've had a rummage through the other sprues, and it looks like it's these. There's obviously two of them, one for each side. So it looks like these are attached to that, and they're probably attached to that one. And on another sprue we have some of the big armour bits with the lights on them. So I'm going to cut off the ones that I think are the right ones, and we'll see if they fit. Before attaching these to the thing that I've already built, we need to build some of this. So we've got the little headlights that need to just go on there, nice and easy. I'm not paying much attention to pre-painting of any of this, because I think all of this is going to be relatively easy to do assembled. I don't know if I'm going to need to do this before I assemble the rest of it, you know, onto the tracks, or if I'm going to do the tracks separately yet. I haven't decided. We'll figure it out as we go along. Now on these we've obviously got two. Now the one thing that's different is the skulls go the same way round, whichever, so it doesn't matter which way up they go. Now according to the little picture, these should be sort of nice and polished at the side, but obviously they're not going to be, so I might need to do a little bit of clean up on that. Might need to fill the seam a little bit before I paint it, so we'll worry about that down the line. That's assembled onto there eventually. There we go. So what I am going to do is just glue that seam. I might just fill that with some normal thick Tamiya. That might give me a better, let's say, solid surface than I can get on this, because it's obviously undercut and you can't get into it to sort of file it and sand it as easily. So I'll see how it looks when that goes together. That goes onto this just like that, nice and easy. Okay, big surface there for gluing. Okay, so that's that. So that's going to go on the back. Another little bit there that goes with it as well. So now these two bits, it says dry fit. That's what the little red symbol there says. Test fit, dry fit before you glue it. So that's going to go on there, just in there like that. So that's quite a nice tight fit, and that's going to go on the top. I see, so it goes over one side and under the other side, so that's going to go on like that, and that one goes on the back like that, and that goes in there like that next to that. Okay, I got that. Well, let's see. For the first thing then, let's get some glue in there, because obviously that's undercut, so that's got to go in there before I can slide anything in next to it. So that's going to go there, that's going to go in, and that's just going to fit to the side there, wherever. Oh, it undercuts in there a little bit as well, so luckily I got this the right way around. Let's take those ones off. Let's get some glue on the top of that runner, on the underneath and the back side of that. Try and get that twisted in and around and over. Yeah, that's not so easy. Just as well, this is still extra thin, that's got that little bit of give and is not welded in place yet. So yeah, that goes on there. Get some more glue down the side there. And obviously down that seam. Cool, and then I think if I hold that together nice and tight, give that time to glue, give that glue time to dry while it's in there, that will give me a better finish on there. So I'll just need to hold that for a couple of minutes. So I'll just keep, no, I won't keep the video running. I'll come back. This is a little bit rough on the top there, but now that's together, that can be sanded more easily, and then I can worry about what I need to do about that as well. So I'll see you in a couple of minutes. I'll get the other bits popped on and glued on while you're waiting, and then we'll see how it looks finished. It's gonna Warhammer up lovely. So I have a little bit of cleanup to do on this. Some of the side panels I need to sort of not so much fill because it is armour, but yeah, there's a couple of bits that need a little bit of attention. Those I think do need some attention as well, and a little bit of sort of gentle sanding and stuff around the edges. So I'll get the other one made up the same but opposite. It wouldn't take any time because I know what I'm doing now. Like, yeah, right. Get this tied up a little bit and then we'll see where we are. I won't bother filming doing the other side because it's just doing this one but in a mirror. So if you want to play it back, just flip it and it'll be fine. But yeah, see you soon when the two sides are completed. So there we go, that's the two sides completed. I've put some Tamiya extra thick, the normal thick Tamiya, the Tamiya cement, and just sort of layered it into there on both sides. Hopefully that will dry it and sort of give a better curve than the, you know, the rough edge in there. I've done that on both sides, both things. So they are ready to be joined together with I say whatever comes that way, whatever goes in the middle there. But for this video, I'm going to call that a day. I'm going to finish that like that. Obviously, I'll give these time to dry properly and sort themselves out, and then we'll see how it looks. So next up is going to be, I say, joining them together, and that's when I need to sort of start looking through the instructions more carefully and trying to figure out if the base bit is the same on all of it and whatever I want to do and how I want to put it together. So that's going to be the interesting one. But it's started. That's the important thing. We've made a start and it's happening. So thanks for watching. I'll stop moving around now. I'll leave them there. Thanks for watching. Come back soon for the next part of this where something extra, you know, something else is going to happen. It's huge. It's coming together, but it's a bit too big. Yeah, right. We'll see how it goes. Thanks for watching. Stick around for the next part soon, and see you soon. Bye.